I'm John Ratzenberger. On this Made in America,
we have a hot time in the old town of Cloquet, Minnesota, watching them make fire at the Diamond Match Factory. We drive south to Chicago and hear the heavenly music coming from Lying and Healy harps. Then we blast off from Boulder City, Nevada, and learn why Fisher space pens defy gravity. I've been all over this great country, in small towns and big cities, visiting factories and workshops, searching for the soul of America. And you know what? I found it everywhere. So sit back and relax, because we've got it made in America. I recently received a handwritten letter, which is so rare now that I got to thinking about how most of history's greatest writers had to use pens. But what Shakespeare and Keats and Dickens wrote in their own handwriting told us much more about them than just their words. Honestly, I doubt that the Declaration of Independence would have had the same impact or still give us the chills today if Jefferson had merely typed it. Boulder City, Nevada, 25 miles southeast of Las Vegas. Its population today is 15,000. Which is about the number of workers who descended on the area in 1930. They'd come to build what was then America's largest engineering project, Boulder Dam, whose name was later changed to honor Herbert Hoover, the president who'd approved its funding. No, not the Herbert Dam, the Hoover Dam. So Boulder City obviously does big, but it also does small. It's the headquarters of Paul C. Fisher and the Fisher Space Pen Company. Everybody knows that if you build a better mousetrap, the world will come knocking at your door. But what happens when you build a better pen, as Paul Fisher did? Well, apparently your pen gets a free ride into outer space. Born in 1913, Paul Fisher earned a general science degree from Kansas State University. His job during World War II was to help keep our boys aloft by supervising the production of propeller bearings in a Chicago factory. After the war, Paul saw the writing on the wall, which had been written by that new sensation, the ballpoint pen. In 1948, he invented the bullet pen. Though it would soon be successful and considered a design classic, Paul knew it was far from perfect. Like every other pen in the world, the bullet depended on the force of gravity to help it work. So it couldn't write in certain positions. Meanwhile, its flow control could be annoyingly erratic, or worse. The 1960s space race inspired countless Americans, not just NASA scientists, to reach for the skies, at least with their imaginations. Among them was Paul, who in 1965 created the AG-7 anti-gravity space pen, which 3 years later made its first trip into space on the Apollo 7. Before then, astronauts had to write with pencils, because in zero gravity, ordinary pens didn't work, but Fisher's AG-7 did. The reason is that the AG-7's ink begins as a gel that becomes liquid only when the pen's ultra-hard tungsten carbide ballpoint makes contact and begins rolling across the surface. Gravity is optional. Why? Because inside the pen, behind the gel receptacle, is a small cartridge of compressed nitrogen that acts as a kind of engine to ensure the steady flow of ink. Whether the pen is in space, underwater, upside down, or just doodling. Reliability is what makes the pen popular with soldiers, policemen, firefighters, mountain climbers, scuba divers, and acrobats. But the AG-7's finest moment may be owed to what it didn't write. July 21st, 1969. Apollo 11 astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin have landed their module and become the first Earthlings on the moon. And on them were the eyes of the world. But what the world didn't know was that after making their small step for man and a giant leap for mankind, the astronauts discovered a serious equipment malfunction that could have proved fatal. A switch on the landing module's engine had broken. No ignition meant no blast-off. So for a while it looked like the astronauts might be stuck. A nightmare scenario, especially with oxygen running low. For weight's sake, the landing capsule had nothing on board to fix the broken switch. But, as the story goes, there was, though, a Fisher AG-7. The astronauts used the pen socket as a tool and were able to manipulate the switch, fire up the engine, and return home. As NASA's John McLeish later told Paul Fisher, the guys might never have made it back without the AG-7. You can't write a better ending than that. Today, at the age of 92, Paul Fisher still leads his company and its 85 employees in a never-ending pursuit of writing excellence. So whether it's in the hands of astronauts, mountain climbers, trivia champs, or trapeze artists, rest assured the Fisher Space Pen has got the right stuff. See you down the road on Made in America.